is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Dawes, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Dawes.
Welcome to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Dawes. And I'm coming to you for the second time this week. How awesome is that? This is a weird one. I'm titling it episode 16, a bonus episode, mainly because I did fall a week behind on my episodes this month. So y'all didn't get 4 episodes like you normally would a month, or 5, some months occasionally. But I want to come to you. So this one won't be an hour long. Well, it might. We'll see. When I kind of start running out of stuff to talk about, this when we're going to stop. Also, if you listen to my episode earlier this week, my allergies are killing me. I'm dying with the hiccups right now too. So I'm hoping I don't hurt your eardrums on the sound waves today, whether you've seen that. And if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you will see me at the beginning trying to get out words because my voice was just not working. But yeah, we're going to one second. One of the kids I minister to, bless her heart, is just struggling to be in high school and to have relationship problems again. But I'm going to try my best to get through this episode again. You know, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So there was a topic that I wanted to talk about for a while now. Honestly, when it first happened, I'm not wearing my Colonel hat. I just realized that. Watch the magic of editing if you are watching on YouTube. Voila! I know the majority of my viewers are listeners. Listen to me on my podcast platform, which I do prefer. I kind of just do the video format of the show simply because it's different and I do somewhat enjoy it. But, you know, I'm now wearing my Colonel Rep hat. It's become a staple of the show. So we will be wearing that. But yeah, so like when I kind of wanted to start doing podcast, it was probably around to that 2020 and 2021, more so in 2021. But there was something major happening in 2020 that I never got to show my views on, and that was the BLM riots. And just so happens, a gift from idiot liberals everywhere, they gave me these new pro-Palestinian riots. All right, they haven't really gotten to riots yet. They are non-peaceful protest, and we're going to get into that in a second. But yeah, so it kind of fell into my lap. I was trying to think, what should I do for a bonus episode? Because I'm going to cover all the news on Thursday. So what could I do to be different? What could I do to talk to you about? And one of my things I was going to do is do the email to the host at www.conservativecolonel.com. I'm going to be goofy this episode. It's 11 in the morning, or 12 in the morning actually now. I was going to do that, where y'all can send me comments and just something to think about, and I'll talk about it on the show. That's what I'm going to do in the future when I have an episode where either there's not a lot of news or another bonus but official episode nonetheless. Like you'll see that This isn't just a bonus episode. It is episode 16 of the Conservative Colonel podcast, but you're getting it about a week later than you should. So, but I've realized I haven't really been promoting the email the host feature on my website. So I checked it, and of course, there's no one who has emailed us at the Conservative Colonel website. And I was like, well, okay, that makes sense. After all, I haven't really promoted that any. So I was racking my brain. I want to do the split in the Republican Party, uh, traditional media versus new media, media's corruption in general. There's a whole lot of episodes I have planned for down the road that I just honestly need more research on, and something I can't do in under a week's time, or in tonight's case, in less than a day. So my podcast aired today, and I was just trying to rack my brain. Okay, what can I do in under a day? And then I heard the Right Side Radio, and Jack had already gave me a heads up that he's going to be talking about the pro-Palestine. I don't want to use the term protest, but I don't want to use the term riot because it hasn't gotten to that stage yet. It probably will soon, and I'll be talking about it again on here. But it just kind of fell into my lap. So I kind of want to talk about the BLM riots of 2020, and then show the pattern that the pro-Palestinian riots are getting to. And it also helps that this happened in my home state. There was one, we'll say, violent protest, because it was somewhat violent. Happened at Ole Miss, of course, my old university that I left because of the liberal corruption of it. So I can tell you how bad liberalism flourishes there. I worked 2 years, I think, with Turning Point USA there. 1 year as their vice president, and golly, it's an uphill battle on universities. I'm not going to say we should run away from that fight, especially if you're a young conservative. But dag nabbit. Is it interesting? Just the stuff teachers, professors, and students will say to you. But getting back kind of on topic, since that happened, it just kind of felt right to talk about. I know everybody's covering this. And if you're a viewer of my show, you were probably originally a viewer of the Right Side, and now Chris McDaniel's America. They're more likely going to talk about it, with it being such a big thing in the country right now. It's one of those things that you're going to hear about a lot, and I know some viewers tune out for that, and I am sorry for y'all, because I know y'all don't want to listen to it. So that's why I'm kind of bringing in the BLM riots, and why I want to talk about those, simply because, once again, I see a lot of similarities. And I've been wanting to talk about this for 4 long deadgum years, because those riots pissed me off. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to try not to stop and go a lot. But again, when I say allergies, that kind of downplays what I'm actually going through. My allergies are pretty bad. They really light me up. But so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And most importantly, the First Amendment protects your right to assembly and to express your views through peaceful protest. Now, the key term is peaceful protest. And I'll pull up the actual First Amendment. Let's see here. We're going to pull this up. So, Congress shall make no law representing an established religion or prohibiting the free expression thereof, religion, or freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people to peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for grievances. Now, again, that is your First Amendment right. You have the right to peacefully protest. And I do believe protesting can be good. Again, you have the right to assemble and to tell the government of your grievances of what's going on. That's a fundamental right, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And I love my amendments. I love my freedom of religion. I love my freedom of speech. I mean, I'm talking right now, freedom of the press. I guess we kind of fall into that now. I am reporting on news, and I did participate in peaceful, and I cannot stress that word enough, peaceful protest when I was at Ole Miss. We did a couple of them, and ours never got violent. We held signs out, got together, and we didn't really even scream at people. We just kind of stood there, walked around. I got interviewed. They butchered my last name spelling, but it was a very peaceful protest. Okay, here's our grievances. I think we even wrote a letter to the chancellor. We're going to protest outside here once a week for however long this issue lies. And of course, the issue got pushed during COVID, so none of us were there. But we did a couple peaceful protests. So again, I believe that's a fundamental right that we should have. But there's a very big difference between a peaceful protest and a violent protest. In a violent protest, you don't occupy a building. You don't take over a building forcefully. We did it around our class schedule. So most days, I think we did it on Tuesdays. And then we had to move to Saturdays because not a lot of people have classes on Saturdays. And then we moved it back to Tuesdays because everybody wanted to go to the football games. College students, am I right? But, we weren't missing class. I'm guessing a couple were. There's probably a couple times I was, honestly. But, school was still very important to all of us, as that's why we were paying to be there. And as well as the fact, hey, we disagree with this. We want to let y'all know. So we're going to peacefully protest. And I enjoy more actually sending grievances to officials. I believe if enough people do that, it kind of does fit the what's the term I'm looking for? It does get more. It does get attention. It's really protest is more of a last resort type of deal when the government's still neglecting you. But these kids don't even know what they're protesting. They're protesting a terrorist organization. Let's just for craps and giggles, let me just type in, Hamas. We have kids flying the Palestinian flag at school, taking down the American flag, mind you, and putting up one of a place that supports attacking the Jewish community, Israel. And of course, again, Hamas, who has definitely hurt us in the past. Am I right? Of course, these kids don't acknowledge that, but I know a lot of veterans that I know are very upset with everything that's going on. And why shouldn't they be? These people have killed veterans, killed soldiers. We've went over there and fought these people before. Hamas. and they're an extremist group that has just, I mean, the history is too much to go into here, honestly. Let's see if I can get through this. But that's what these kids are protesting. They're asking for us not to help Israel out, but to help Palestine out. Not to mention that Palestine, shot missiles at Israel not too long ago, but many other things they've done that I could list, but again, I'm going to be approaching territory that everybody else is covering. But this happened at Ole Miss, and like the police got involved and peacefully, and I actually do mean peacefully, de-escalated the situation. They got both sides against each other, because when you get a protest and a counter protest going, 9 times out of 10 it's going to end violent. I mean, that's not an official statistic, but from just my experience, it doesn't go well. When we were protesting, we had counter protest. We made a rule to stay away from them as far as we could. And normally it was like, they're on this side of the grove, we're on this side of the grove. We can see each other clear as day, but there's a bit of a gap between us, because we knew if we got over there and they started talking and firing us up, that it wasn't going to end well. And I'm not saying we were violent people or they were violent people, but there's a bunch of college students there, and that's not going to end well for anybody. And people just naturally can get angry and very self-defensive. So we made the conscious effort, because they were coming at us pretty hard, that we were going to back up a bit, not leave our ground, but physically just move a bit, stay out there and continue to protest. And they stayed out there usually as long as we did, but it never got violent. We never had the police come and escort us. We did have a tour guide point at us once, which was interesting. And I don't know what he said, but they all did laugh at us. So probably just some liberal crap, but that's how it happened at Ole Miss. Now, in other parts of the country, it's not been that lucky. Let's see here. 2,000 kids were arrested on college campuses. Police have gotten involved at UCLA. I see the term violence, even at places like CNN, where our liberal places, are saying these have started to get violent. And it's not gotten to a riot yet, but it's going to happen, especially if the left keep pushing it and college professors keep pushing it like they did with the BLM riots, where it just got completely out of control. Again, sorry, these allergies are rough on me talking as well. Luckily, it's not too bad of an attack where I sound like I did that one episode where it sounded like I smoked 40 packs of cigarettes a day. But it will get there by tomorrow, especially with this helping. But I feel like they're pushing for it. And again, I wanted to talk about the BLM riots too, to kind of add some connectiveness. So in the 2020 BLM riots, and again, I'm going to talk about also the January 6th riot, and compare it. So the BLM riots, over 500 of them, by the way, lasted several months, with 23 people shot, dead, hundreds of small businesses destroyed, 150 plus federal buildings damaged, $2 billion in damages, 700 officers injured, protesters were bailed out, encouraged by media and politicians, downplayed by the media, nationally encouraged. Now, I'm getting this from some statistics that were shared during the time, and I've never really went back and double checked these, but I have a couple statistics in front of me, and they're both pretty similar. And then you go to January 6th, which again, I said this when it happened. I don't approve of neither of them. If they wanted to protest on January 6th, for example, there are many other ways they could have done that. They could have contacted their representatives. They could have stayed out there and just, yell, give them crap. Just when you get violent and start disrupting peace, that's different. But, again, January 6th, it lasted just a couple hours. It's condemned by, both Republicans and Democrats. While Republicans mostly condemned the BLM riots, police force was used, just same. One person was shot, dead. 14 officers injured. One federal building damaged. No small buildings destroyed. National outcry for that one. And we're still seeing that today, where they're going after the people of the January 6th riot, but not the BLM rioters. And I remember at the time, and I actually got a video I can play for y'all. Where is it? It's on here somewhere. We will find it. Have no fear. All right. Here it is. There it is. All right.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
I feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price.
Showing up on the first page of Google?
Well, that's embarrassing. I want to thank that ad for coming up and ruining what I was going for, but it's a 12 in the morning episode, and that's the stuff you get on a bonus episode of the Conservative Colonel podcast. Just a riot fire, pun intended. But that whole video, you see Democrats and liberal media pushing for more of this. They wanted more BLM riots. They wanted more chaos in the streets. They wanted more murders. They wanted more small businesses destroyed. They wanted more federal buildings destroyed, because at the end, it doesn't come out of their pocket. They don't care. And again, that guy said, where in the Constitution does it say peaceful? The right of people peacefully to assemble. Peaceful is in that amendment. Now, I'm going to say peaceful. It says peacefully, but it's the same word. You know what I'm saying. So it says it right there. But again, they're going to ignore that because it doesn't fit their narrative. They want you to tear down the establishment, even though they're the establishment. They want to make sure you're fully under their control, and they want to paint conservatives in a corner and to make them look bad. are to make us, feel scared even that there's no way you can combat this. I honestly don't know the goals of this, but they're nefarious either way. Maybe they get money from rebuilding, who knows. I know the BLM people got, mansions out of the deal. Go look that up. But yeah, the executives of BLM, by the way, instead of taking it to, I don't know, do what they're saying and help black rights, maybe. That's what they were saying, right? That's what they were fighting for African American rights and to protect African Americans. But they never used any of the money to it. They were getting nice mansions, though. That's interesting, ain't it? That tells you something, doesn't it? But again, Jack talked about it on the Right Side Radio, so I'm not going to try to just bang it in your head. All these, I believe at Columbia, UCLA, and a couple others, they were like, one of them took over a dead gum library. Again, luckily at Ole Miss, they didn't take over a library or anything. They just protested it, and it looks like it looks like outside the Thad Cochran building, which is funny. Where liberals learn to grow. But let's see here. I see UCLA, multiple campuses really, and they're getting worse. And it's all, and they spew like anti-Islam slurs at people. I mean, this is getting to the racist point of being racist against Jews or people from Israel. It's getting to that point, and it might actually be already at that point, and that's scary. You should never hate someone because of the color of their skin, their religion, beliefs, or where they're from. Those are things that are a part of someone. They can't change it. Just like you can't change, for just a crazy example, from being a man to a woman. Can't change it. And I guess just throwing some more 2 cents in there. I mean, the one at Ole Miss was like 60 to 70 protesters screaming like "Free Palestine," which is a riot. And then the pro-Israel people got there counter-protesting. And shocker, the university sent out the police before the crowd could get crazy. And they sent them to the campus clock tower. And then they put them into buildings and shuttled them out on buses. Ole Miss played it pretty safe, surprisingly, considering the fact that Ole Miss is just Ole Miss. I wouldn't expect, a liberal meltdown at Ole Miss, or I wouldn't be surprised by a liberal meltdown and a full-fledged, violent protest. But it seems like to me, and again, I've talked about this on the show before, y'all are growing with me in this show. For someone who's been a conservative all my life, I have just now started to dissect what is a conservative, what are my beliefs. And y'all have kind of grown with me as this show has progressed since November. I've already either become stronger about a position or maybe not as strong as I was before, have different feelings on stuff. Maybe my feelings have strengthened, like with the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. But, I was definitely never liberal. I was probably more, I wouldn't say I was a modern Republican before, but I wouldn't say I was where I am now, where I'm like, all right, I hate the whole Republican Party. I was definitely getting there. But here we are. And the more you dive into this stuff, the more it just mind blows you. But from my point of view, it's absolutely crazy. They're camping. You guys live here. You go to school here almost every day. We never set out camp when I protested. You'd go to school, you get back, you get some lunch, you head out to the square or to the circle, put your stuff down, grab a sign that you made, stand there for a couple hours, maybe have a couple students ask you some questions, take some pictures, get on social media a bit, let it flood. That's a normal protest. But this violent stuff, this camping, and it's getting absolutely crazy. And I don't see the Biden administration going to step in to calm the nation down. I think he's going to do the exact opposite and try his best to pour gasoline on it and try to get this stuff even crazier, because then we react. And then it's like, oh, look at them. Funny enough, that's the same thing the Palestine government's doing with the Israel government. They attack them, rile them up, and then when Israel hits back, they're like, oh, look what they've done to us. What? Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And I think God and Country, another Midnight Ride show, tackled this, or the history of it. And I actually haven't sat down to watch it. And I'm probably going to watch it after this. And I might come back with another episode on this, depending on how these protests continue to go. Maybe next week or the week after that, and talk about this again. But, this was kind of just a quick episode. I kind of want to get out there and point out the fact that in my gut, I see this coming back to the BLM riots, where they started off as protests, then violent protests, then riots. Now, for the BLM stuff, it happened very quickly. It happened so quickly that it rocked everyone. I mean, I still remember getting rocked and hearing about historical institutions being burnt down, monuments being torn down to heroes. Just my mind just blowing. Them attacking Thomas Jefferson and many others. Heck, they even attacked Abraham Lincoln. But it got so crazy so quick. This is a bit more of a slow one, honestly. But again, they're taking down the American flag and putting up the Palestinian flag. First off, I would love for y'all to go live over there. Go visit there and tell me how your rights are protected. Go tell them that you identify as a dog and you howl at the moon at night. I would love to see that. Heck, I would love a strong woman to go over there and tell me about women's rights. Tell them that you have rights. They'll laugh in your face. Right in your face. Go see a feminist go over there and make my year. Y'all don't understand what you're supporting. You're supporting terrorism, and you're supporting a country that goes and bullies a country to try to take it over, and then blames that country for starting it. It is the classic big brother versus little brother. Little brother does all these little hits, trying to get the big brother pissed off. The big brother finally hits back, and the little brother goes crying to mom. Mom, of course, is mad at the big brother. Now, that's not the best analogy, because I will admit, when I hit my little brother, I was supposed to be the bigger person in that scenario. This is a bit different. It's a whole country getting attacked. You have citizens to worry about. You have to worry about people getting killed, and that's much more serious than my brother hitting me because I wouldn't share the PlayStation controller. But that's what it is. And then these liberal kids have mastered that as well, and so has the left, where they start something and then blame it on us. It is magnificence at work. Again, the BLM riots happened, and then when January 6th riot happened, it's bad, yes. I think everybody should be punished, but they blamed it on Trump. And then they imprisoned everybody that did the riots. Again, BLM riots, nah, they're good. They burnt down cities. They burnt down businesses. People got killed because of this. But don't worry about it. No need to enforce the law. No need to protect your citizens. Why would we do that? This is only one of the few things the federal government has to do. And in this overreaching federal government world where the federal government is involved in too deadgum much, you're telling me that they weren't chopping at the bit to get in there? That's a lie. They were foaming at the mouth, but they knew if they held out, they could somehow turn around on us. And they have. For the past 4 years, I've heard about January 6th. But funny enough, I don't hear about the BLM riots anymore. Something that I will talk about for generations because of what it did to me as a historian and the fear and the just what is going on. I feel like I'm living in a third world country type of feel. I have never felt scared of something happening in Mississippi. I've never been scared of, how do I put this? And third world is probably strong, but I've never been scared of an attack happening on home soil. The only attack we've had on home soil in decades was 9/11. And while that was very scary, I was a young child. I didn't think I was going to have that type of fear in my life like my father had when that happened. Or I'm assuming we haven't really ever talked about that, but most Americans were scared when that happened. Was that it? Was that there going to be more? What else is going to happen? How many have died because of this? And that's what my fear was with the BLM riots. That's how I felt. I don't scare too easily. And I remember, loading all the guns in my house because I lived alone at the time. And being like, well, if they're coming for me, they're going to have to get through me because I will have every gun available here. But, it's funny how we still talk about January 6th riots and it's being brought up even in the election, but no one's talking about the BLM riots, which were just a massive, massive stain on our history where people went out, attacked America, attacked American buildings, attacked American business owners, tore down history itself. Okay. We took that. They took that right out of the Nazi playbook. Is that a harsh comparison? Yes. Do I make it lightly? No, because liberals compare everything to racists, Nazis, or homophobia. So I don't compare that not lightly, but when you are using brute force to convey your opinion, you're not really conveying your opinion. You're saying, accept my opinion or I hurt you. And the BLM riots fire me up. It's a big talking point. I would love to bring someone on the show I could banter with and have history, more facts I can get ready than a day. But if this is it, I am happy. I did want to address this on at least one episode. Heck, who knows if this podcast lasts for 10 seasons. I might do 10 years later after the BLM riots, or heck, next year will be 5 years since they happened. I might do it next season. That could be one of our big episodes next season. 5 years later, the BLM riots. What were they? What the heck happened? And why the liberals were so happy for it. And I'm worried these pro-Palestinian riots are going to get like that. But at the same time, it's just, again, they're taking out American flags, putting up Palestinian flags. Y'all don't know anything, do you? What do you go to college for? I know I went to college to be a historian, and I actually got dumber in history the longer I stayed there. I used to be able to tell you all American history from the 1750s all the way up until the 1930s. All of it. I was a book of knowledge, and I'm not trying to brag here, but that's just how I was. I love history. And I'm actually getting back into learning it again because I've forgotten most of it. And I focused on American history in college. So why did I forget the majority of it? I got straight A's in my history classes in college. So why am I having trouble remembering simple history? Dates that I used to be able to remember and spout off the top of my head. I used to be able to remember the whole Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. I used to remember all the people who signed it. I used to remember all of General Washington's wins and losses and battles and some of his greatest moments in history. I could do like that off the top of my head. But now I don't. And I was at Ole Miss for about 4 years. So what was I being taught? You must be asking. I was not. I was brainwashed for 4 long years. There were days I even doubted. That's how bad the brainwashing is. Even I, someone who considers myself pretty strong-minded, someone who was set in his ways, who were taught true history, who was taught how or was raised on how to be a good Southern gentleman, and of course, I grew up in a house believing in conservative values. But even I caught myself slipping on issues. Heck, I don't even sometimes realize the extent of the damage as today, a year or two removed, I still catch myself slipping sometimes. And I'll be like, how did that happen? And it's because that they just brainwash. That's all they do. And that's what they're doing to these kids, making them think Palestine is just, I don't know, this rich democracy, or the oppressed individuals over there in the Middle East. They're not. Again, they shot missiles. I guarantee you, if you're shooting missiles, I don't think you're the oppressed people in that scenario. It's a whole crap fest, and I love the left for dumping this on my lap. But we're gonna kind of start wrapping it up. I'm gonna start rambling if I'm not careful, and no one wants to hear me ramble. But thank you guys for listening. Again, this is coming out Saturday, I think. So if you didn't listen to Chris McDaniels in America Friday, go listen to it. If you didn't listen to the Right Side Radio, go listen to it. Again, God and Country on the Midnight Ride as well has a couple of good episodes out about the stuff happening with Israel and Palestine. So I would highly encourage them. They do have great episodes as well. I sometimes accidentally just focus on Chris McDaniels America and the Right Side Radio because that's my two favorite podcasts I listen to. And I listen to many other podcasts like one by the Abbeville Institute that I just absolutely love because I love history. But again, I'm going to start rambling if I'm not careful. It is 12:30 in the morning. I am very prone to rambling, as you poor souls know. But remember to please go check us out on our main platform, Speaker. But we're also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. And then on Tuesdays, we release on Rumble and YouTube the video format of the Conservative Colonel podcast. Please leave a 5-star review. Like the episode if you liked it. Subscribe if that's an option. Follow us if it's not. And check us out on our social medias. We're on Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, you can find all this information and so much more at conservativecolonel.com. Whew. That was a lot to get through. But I do feel better, and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of quick bonus episode. And thank you guys for listening. God bless America, and God bless Mississippi.